Hello, and welcome back to another episode of University Atlas, the all-in-one student podcast for news, information, and advice. I'm your host, Juno Hyde, and this week is Paranormal Remembrance Week, a time set aside to remember those spectacular ghost captures, memorable ghost hunters, and great anti-ghost inventions that have defined the last few decades. Now, this is not to be confused with Paranormal Memorial Week, which is a time for remembering those who have all died horrible deaths at the hands of our visitors from the other side of the veil. It can be hard to keep track sometimes. It's also midterms. Cassie's busy studying, which means I'm editing the episode, which also means I can click my pen as much as I want. What's she gonna do? Fire me? I don't think so. Also, I'm down to my last pen, and I'm really worried that if I set it down, it'll disappear like the rest of my writing utensils. Still haven't found those, by the way. But let's get the episode started. Midterms. Everyone's got them, except the English students, and everyone hates them, especially the English students, who find their favorite study spots in the library occupied throughout the night by last-minute crammers. This week we find ourselves once again facing down group projects, 8-page reflection essays, and lengthy exams. For many, midterms mark the point at which a student will decide whether or not to drop a class. Remember, you can change your grade specification to pass-fail up until 3 weeks before the quarter ends. If your grades are suffering and you don't want your parents to know, now's the time to take action. However, the university would like me to remind you all that the pass-fail grades, while they won't harm your GPA, may reflect poorly on your academic achievement for future schools and/or employers, especially medical professions. Apparently, even passing a class, which is difficult and should always be celebrated, still isn't good enough for some people. Here at John Atlas University, midterms are always scheduled on or within 3 days of a new moon, so lycanthrope students and professors don't have to deal with the additional stressors of the full moon. Everyone knows midterms are largely useless, and were created because too many students made jokes about forgetting all the content they'd learned in the early weeks of the quarter by the time finals came around. Remember, folks, professors aren't deaf, though many of them pretend to be. Don't make jokes about anything that might come back to bite you. And a bit of worldly advice for the professors. Remember that if students are forgetting your lectures, either you've failed to make the information interesting, you haven't taught it in a way that will encourage retention, or you need to evaluate why your students aren't using the techniques and information taught early on throughout the rest of your class. If they're not using the techniques you're teaching, then why are you teaching them? Learning requires effort on two fronts, folks. If you're struggling in a class, try and evaluate why. Maybe your learning style doesn't line up with your professor's teaching style. If that's the case, consider visiting your professor during office hours and explaining your concerns. Don't be intimidated. Professors are required to have office hours, but it has been my experience that most professors are so excited to have their students visit and ask questions that many of them actually start crying. Once they go through a few tissues, they should be happy to help you reach a solution for your learning concerns. But now, let's talk about Paranormal Remembrance Week. John Atlas University is incredibly involved with Paranormal Remembrance Week, and not just because we have a lot of ghosts. Many of the world's most renowned ghost hunters are Atlas alumni, graduates from programs like Paranormal Defense, Ectoplasmic Sciences, Demonic Studies, and the like. Each year, the university staff chooses several alumni to highlight, and place informative posters on each of the halls across campus containing a bit of information about these alumnus' pre- and post-graduation achievements. This year, there's 78 alumni posters in total, and there's a prize waiting for you at the Atlas Union front desk if you take a picture with each one. I have no idea what the prize is, despite my efforts to find out, so I can't tell you if it's worth it or not. Fitz challenged me to a competition to see who can find all 78 the fastest. It's been 22 hours, and so far I've found 38, and Fitz has found 72, which is humanly impossible, considering how well some of these posters are hidden. Oh, speak of the devil. Oh, look, he's found another one. Fitz says 73, and he's attached a picture. It looks like he's in the rafters of Benally Hall. I looked there last night, but maybe I should check again. Last year they moved the posters around after a few days to make it harder. Anyways, I thought I'd cover a few of the ones I've found so far. I'm sure Fitz will have found them all by the time this podcast airs, so it's not like I'm wasting any advantage. Up first, we've got Emily Kidd, graduated in '07. She's credited with the discovery of a new ghost variety, now known as the Vapor. Previously thought to be especially thick manifestations of ghost fog, Emily Kidd proved vapors to be real ghosts, distinct from ghost fog, and capable of their own psychic manipulations and often quite dangerous. Since then, Emily Kidd has written a book on her discovery titled Chasing Vapors, A Hunt for Answers, and continues to educate while pursuing a PhD in ectoplasmic sciences. I discovered this poster inside an air vent in Heim Hall. Up next, we've got a name that most of you should recognize. Francine Molina, graduated in '87, is the founder of Student Paranormal Organized Operations and Knowledge, now a nationwide organization. She currently lives here in Rosemer and still runs the Atlas Spook chapter with her nephew, Sebastian Blackheart, as her ghost hunting partner and vice president. Throughout her career, Francine has gathered an impressive 134 confirmed ghost captures, including the infamous Clock Tower Warden, a cursed poltergeist responsible for the near destruction of the Equinox Clock Tower 30 years ago. I found this poster on the back of a rolled-up projector screen inside Kane Hall. Alice Delgado, graduated '92, is known for her research into sentient ghosts, specifically those with the ability to speak intelligently. Throughout her career, she's spoken to over 200 spirits of varying sentience across dozens of countries, and has written multiple books on her experiences, including the New York Times bestselling memoir, Voices of the Veil. "I've spoken to a lot of ghosts," she said, in an interview with the New York Times a few years ago. "Most of them don't understand a word I'm saying. A few of them are able to speak back. And fewer still are the ghosts that understand every word you say and choose to play dumb, to stay silent. Those are the truly intelligent ones. Those are the ones you should be afraid of." This poster was taped to the inside of the community fridge in Stack 2 of the Towers. Molly Atlas, graduated '96, is the great-granddaughter of John Atlas and the current president of the University Administrations Board. While studying here at Atlas, Molly was a member of one of the first spook teams and graduated with a degree in paranormal histories. She is the author of several books on paranormal history, including Atlas to Atlas, a biography of her great-grandfather John Atlas. She is currently planning a revised edition to this book, which will include portions of his personal journal, quote, "as soon as we can decode and transcribe it. My great-grandfather was a paranoid man," unquote. I found this poster taped to the ceiling of the Tower's dining hall. And last but not least is Gail Wen, graduated in '98, who is known for their research into the abnormality that is Rosemer, and the unusual quantity of ghosts and other paranormal activity in the area. Gail was a member of Spook and graduated with a degree in ectoplasmic sciences, which they now use to take readings and investigate hauntings, searching for answers as to what, if anything, could be the cause of such a high concentration of spirits in the area. They have published no definitive conclusions as of yet, but remain hopeful that the answers are out there. I found this poster under a lid of a washing machine in Stack 3 of the Bricks, while I was there to ask Cassie if I could borrow her copy of A Modern Study of Ectoplasm and Its Effect on Paranormal Research by Joan Holloway, since I lent my copy to Fitz and forgot I needed it for EPS 342. But there you have it. Those are just a few of the incredible alumni that our very own John Ellis University It's Fitz again. 75. He zoomed in very close on this poster of, looks like Logan Almond, likely in an attempt to keep me from finding its location through his photo. But little does Fitz know I would recognize those fluorescents anywhere. Those are the bathrooms in Prospect Hall. And this next photo of Jonathan's staff looks like it's in a dumpster. Last I checked, there were 39 of those on campus, so finding that could take a while. Well, good luck to my fellow students on their own scavenger hunts. If you want to complete this challenge, you might want to start soon, as the longer you wait, the more time the raccoons have to drag posters off into the woods. And now it's time for Rosemer Roundup. The first topic of this week's news report is an update on the ominous sailboat that washed up on the sandbar at Railroad Park a few weeks ago. Police have been unable to locate the sailboat's owner, and the reported sound it makes when approached, a sound like 1,000 screaming ants, we're still not sure what that means, has been getting louder, and apparently can be heard all the way from the shore. Baristas at the Seafoam Cafe, who first noticed the sailboat, have reported having very strange dreams in which they board the sailboat and ride it into the clouds, only to slip on seagull poop, tumble from the side, and wake up in their beds to the sensation of falling. Beach visitors have been warned to keep away from the sailboat after sunset. It is clear there is some sort of supernatural influence over the whole situation, but the source and resulting steps to take care of it are yet unknown. Stay tuned for more updates. Dr. Tina Ketch, professor of paranormal technology development here in Atlas, has requested that the unknown prankster who keeps breaking into her office stop stealing the teeth from her articulated replica skeleton. "I have 2 PhDs and one of them is in engineering," she said, when Fitz took her statement on Wednesday. "The next person, dead or alive, who tries to bust into my workshop after hours will find more security measures than just a triple lock and security camera, if you know what I'm saying." She then reportedly gave a large, suggestive wink and walked off, muttering under her breath about pressure plates and tripwires. Fitz has left a helpful comment here saying he didn't think she was talking about Minecraft. In other news, there has been some recent upset among Rosemer real estate businesses. Recently, the old Victorian-style house at the end of Porter Avenue, owned until recently by the late Mrs. Undine, has been put on the market by her surviving family for close to $1 million. While there have been several offers made for the magnificent house, each of them significantly undercut the asking price. The Undine family real estate agent, Mr. Dart, has stated the house's apparent reputation for being incredibly haunted as the reason for such lacking offers. "Please," said Mr. Dart in an interview last week by the Rosemer Weekly, "I think we are past the point of assuming houses are haunted simply because they adhere to a certain sort of aesthetic. The old Victorian architecture of the home, once praised for its masterful craftsmanship, is now viewed as synonymous with spirits and hauntings. It's an unfair stereotype and one that will cost the grieving family thousands if the rumors do not cease." When asked to speak on the reports of strange noises, flashing green lights in the attic windows, and the fact that Mrs. Undine's body was found with an expression of intense, horrified surprise, Mr. Dart had no comment. The house at the end of Porter Avenue remains unsold. On Saturday, fishermen on the east side of the bay reported a short rainfall during the early hours of the morning. This in itself would not be unusual, save that it was snails, and not water, that fell from the sky. The snailfall lasted a little over a minute, and fishermen say the snails that landed on their boat were unaffected by the long fall and left hundreds of little ooze trails all over the equipment, which took some hours to clean. A little farther south, on the shore, near Western Drive, residents reported a similar rainfall, not of snails, but slugs. This difference might be significant to some, but not me. We all know slugs are just snails who lost the house in the divorce. Oh, here's a fun slug fact. Did you know that following the discovery of salt as an anti-ghost device, people thought that slugs and snails were perhaps reincarnated spirits themselves, because they melt when you pour salt on them? However, there's been no other evidence so far to suggest this. I think we might have figured it out by now if slugs and snails were undead creatures. Or would we? Who knows how those old guys work? And don't say scientists, Cassie. Oh, that's probably Fitz again. I'll get it later. Let's answer some questions in Ask and You Might Receive. This is a segment where you, the listener, submit questions, and I answer them sometimes. The only rule is to avoid questions that will make me sad. Use your best judgment. I cry very easily. We've only got one question today, but it's a bit of a long one. It comes from Andy. Andy asks, "Which building on campus has the best bathrooms?" I am so glad you asked, Andy. First, I'd like to establish there are several determining factors that must be applied to reach an accurate conclusion. Those factors are cleanliness, number of stalls, toilet paper quality, ventilation and air quality, traffic, privacy, soap scent, and last but most important, the quality of the lighting. I spent a few hours last night constructing a ranking chart of all the bathrooms on campus, instead of doing homework, and though it's a bit too detailed to share in its entirety over an audio medium, the results are clear. I have sorted the bathrooms into 3 main categories: the men's, the women's, and the gender neutrals. Each building on campus has all 3. Overall, the women's bathroom consistently ranked the highest in overall cleanliness, ventilation and air quality, and number of stalls. The men's rank lowest in traffic, meaning they receive fewer visitors. Don't mistake this for privacy, however, as the gaps between stalls in the men's bathrooms are consistently 1 to 2 centimeters wider than the women's, and of course the urinals are sort of just out in the open. I've never understood why they don't put urinals in their own stalls, really. But that means the gender-neutral bathrooms, most of which are single-use, rank highest in privacy and also in lighting, with the exception of the aforementioned Prospect Hall. But that whole building has hideous fluorescence. Gives me a headache, really. The cleanest bathrooms on campus are those in the brick student dorms, and the least clean are those in the Sucks building. The largest are tied between Kane and Ward Hall, and the smallest are in Annabeth Hall. Toilet paper quality varies significantly from building to building, with the highest being found in Equinox Hall and the lowest found in the Arena Gym. Seriously, don't use the bathroom in there. You need like a whole roll. The busiest are those in the library, and the least visited are in Stroud Hall. The soap smells the best in the Atlas Union. Boiler Hall is always out of soap, so that's an automatic fail there. And the best lit bathrooms are usually those in the dorms, though Kane Hall is a close runner-up. And there you have it, Andy. I hope that answers your question. I've realized I know way too much about the bathrooms here. We should move on. We previously advertised our University Atlas message broadcasting service, and today I'll be reading a few of those messages we received. The first is a message from Tally V, and is addressed to the hot girl I saw in the dining hall last week. Hey, I don't know you, and you don't know me, but we made eye contact across the tower dining hall last Tuesday during lunch, and I didn't have the courage to go over and say hi before you left. You had orange hair with bangs, and you were wearing a knitted sweater with a goose on it, and you were eating pot stickers from the end of a knife. I pretty much fell in love immediately, so if you're listening to this, hey, I think you're really pretty. Are you single? If so, would you want to get Brie's beans sometime, or take a walk to the falls? If not, or you're not looking for anything, that's cool too. I like your goose sweater and your hair is really cool. The other message is from Sophia L, and it's to my English 102 group mates. Hey, you guys do realize this group project is like 40% of our grade, right? I know most of you haven't actually read the book yet, because I saw 2 of you shopping for it on Amazon last week in class. I've already got half the slides done, and I'm going to do the rest myself because I want them to look good, but just know that I will be making it clear in my write-up that I'm the one that made them without any help from any of you. I've sent out the Google Doc 4 times now, and I'm the only person who's written anything on it. I don't know how else to get you to do your work. And if I get any emails the week before finals saying, hey guys, we should probably start that group project, huh? I'm turning it in myself, and you're on your own. Professor McDonald, if you're hearing this, I'm asking you to please assign me to a new group, please. This concludes our message broadcast service. If you have a message you'd like us to broadcast for you, it's Fitz again. Just reads, I win? Dang it! Oh, I knew he was gonna win, but come on. It still hurts. Guess this means crepes are on me next week. I bet he's not gonna tell me what the prize is either. Well, that settles it. Better end the episode now so I can start searching again. I don't think I'm gonna get much studying done. But midterms are temporary. Victory is forever. Thanks for listening to University Atlas. It's been a pleasure as always. Good luck on midterms, watch out for falling snails, and remember, every ball is a basketball if you put it in a basket. This is Juno Hyde signing off. This episode of University Atlas was written, recorded, and edited by Jo Griffin. I'd like to thank Susanna Jelsima for the use of her incredible music. If you'd like to support this show, follow us on Twitter, tweet about us, share us with a friend, or donate to our podcast on Ko-fi to help us cover hosting fees.